it this time. I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky.
Let me introduce my guests here. Immediately to my left is my good friend and business partner, Michael Arrington. Michael and Arrington and I co-founded an event called TechCrunch 50, which occurs every year. This is the third year, and it's the reason we're here at Sequoia Capital, which was our first partner on the event. The goal of TechCrunch 50, to let 50 companies launch without having to pay. This is our third year. What do you think of the companies so far? We've been sitting in here doing rehearsals. We've seen 30 companies. You've seen half of them probably. What do you think of the quality of the companies so far?
I'd say it's full step better than last year, and last year was pretty good. So I think every year they've gotten better. And I mean, if you think about Mint won the first year, two years ago, and it was actually pretty close. I mean, they weren't obviously the winner. There are lots of guys that did a great, and women who did a great job. Mint won, they're now worth $140 million in the last round of financing, as reported on TechCrunch.com. Last year, Yammer won. Yammer is doing awesome. I hear the revenue is flowing in. So we've had great companies in the past. This year, I'm seeing a crop of companies that are, there's probably at least a dozen that I think have the chance to be huge winners. And across the board, they're super interesting.
I have to agree. I think there's a lot of Yammer level and Mint level, even PowerSet level. In the first year, we had PowerSet, which got bought for $100 million shortly after TechCrunch 50. So it's going to be a great event. It's taking place on the 14th and 15th of September here in San Francisco, and it's almost sold out. Another amazing. We had a credible economic crisis, and all of our partners came back. I heard today America Online is back.
Yeah, all of our sponsors are back, and
Sequoia,
and really that's it's just great event.
Charles River, Microsoft,
Founders Fund,
Founders Fund. I mean, this list is
Google, of course, is back, and all of our big sponsors have been back. We've added some new big sponsors. The attendance is on pace or a little better than last year.
A little better, yeah.
So
10%.
It's good, yeah.
Pretty amazing. In all honesty, didn't we think this could be a rough year?
Yeah, I think we assumed it would be a rough year, but I think things are working out fine.
Things are working out fine. I mean, except for our personal relationship, which is pretty much as the worst it's ever been.
It's probably reached a low point, but it's hard to say that because it's always at a low point.
That's right.
So, and then it gets a little worse.
Yeah. So it's always plateauing down to a different. All we do is fight about this event, but that's why it comes out great. We suffer through it. Our guest today, Garry Tan, is an entrepreneur who I met over email.
Yeah. He's the founder of Tumblr.
He founded an amazing site called Tumblr.
Tumblr is amazing. Yeah, a lot of knockoffs.
Tumblr is okay, so Tumblr is a great site. We'll have the Tumblr CEO. Yeah. So Garry, I met over email because I found an incredible service that solved a problem for me. And the best startup companies, I think, are born out of frustration. I couldn't figure out a way to post to my Flickr, my email from all my different devices.
Is he a guest or sponsor? I just want to be clear on
Not a sponsor, but a guest.
Okay.
Someday he might be a sponsor. Anyway, I love sending...
Do you have $10,000? Because it's 10 episodes.
We're sold out, Mike. The show's sold out.
Okay.
We're sold out for 20 episodes. Yeah. You can start, if you wanted to sponsor the show, I couldn't take your money until April or something. Anyway, point is, I love sending videos, I love sending images, whatever, text, but I like doing it for my BlackBerry or for my iPhone, something quick. And I wanted to post to my WordPress blog, and I wanted to post to my Twitter all at the same time. And somebody told me about Posterous. I check it out, and I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted and more. I went in, I put in 10 different services: Flickr, Facebook, MySpace, Tumblr, WordPress, every possible service I use. And then when I email a video to it, it transcribes and posts the video on Flickr, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere, and Posterous. A brilliant service. Posterous, whatever, it's great. Garry, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So tell me, I described my experience with the product. Is my experience unique, and was this the reason you created it? Was this created out of your own personal frustration?
You know, this product is 2 years old now?
It's exactly one. It's about a year and a month.
I mean, we wrote about this last summer.
This Week in Startups is to celebrate the startups that have succeeded, but were, of course, launched on TechCrunch.com.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see. I should have read. Is that? I didn't.
It's the tagline.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
1 year after TechCrunch.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So tell me about the origin of the company.
Absolutely. So my co-founder, Sachin Agarwal, he great guy, basically brought HD to Final Cut Pro. and we've been friends since college, went to Stanford. And then he came up with this idea of, hey, email is actually the way everyone communicates. I don't want to use more Web 2.0 stuff. I don't want to log in. I don't want to read a book about how to configure something. Let's just make something where I email and it's posted and there's nothing in between. And so we kind of started with that, really just solving our own problems. Like, we were bloggers, we're photographers. We got sick of having to take an embed code and drop it into some other site.
Right.
It's like, you shouldn't have to. What year is it? You know?
Exactly.
Balls.
And what's that?
I get a cheesecake if I say the word balls from Chris Sod's.
Okay, so if anybody would like to disrupt the show, please send a tweet
I'll say
to
literally
@Arrington,
anything you ask me to say.
and he will say anything.
Literally anything.
And cause my editors to have to do a bunch of bleeping. So if you would
This
like,
is live. Can you do bleeping live?
no, on the iTunes we'll do a little editing.
That's fucking awesome.
Okay, well there you have that at that mark. That's the timestamp. Okay.
You got that down? Okay.
He's literally, poor Alex is having to timestamp all these times Michael Arrington curses. Anyway, everybody who is in the chat room, please tweet the URL.
All four of you.
Let me ask you. Actually, there are 267 people watching already, and this is.
Well, we Twittered this from the TechCrunch account.
It's
so I had
Twitter
to
from
get a couple
mine.
of my
It'll
guys
get to
in
500, I'm sure. I find out later you've got a great group of angel investors. How much money have you raised, and who are the investors in this? Because I was quite impressed because I knew a couple of them.
So we started out with Y Combinator, and that's actually the genesis where we were like, we're going to quit our jobs. Like, we're first-time entrepreneurs. We'd always been building for other people, and this is our shot at
Have you ever heard of Crunchbase, by the way? It has.
That's right. It does
has
have
when
everything
they were
on
founded in May of 2008. It has all their investors. I mean,
All right,
they're all
I'm pulling up
listed
Crunchbase right now. Can you put
We
up my
got
screen?
I'm just saying, it's like,
Mirage.
hey, why don't we pull up a random Wikipedia page and talk about that for 4 hours? I mean, it's like, this stuff is known.
Okay, well, I'm
Now,
introducing
that
the
being
audience.
said, Posterous is, I've been a huge user of Posterous. When I took February off, I brought no device with me except my phone, and I uploaded pictures to my Posterous account, which is /TechCrunch, is it right?
TechCrunch.posterous.com.
And I just uploaded photos from my camera from.
This is when you were hiding in seclusion?
This is when I was hiding in seclusion, and it was great. I mean, it was
From your imaginary stalker?
I took a picture of my phone when I was still on the iPhone, which is a great last generation phone, and then I just emailed them to Posterous, and it'd be right in there.
Right.
But what the cool thing about Posterous is that you haven't mentioned, the
Okay.
real trick,
Here we go.
you don't need to start an account. The only way you open an account, you email anybody out there, email a picture to post. I
Do
sure
it
hope this
now.
is good.
Post at posterous.com.
Email a picture to post at posterous.com. It will create an account for you.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, what camera? There's
Zero
cameras
You're the
installed.
camera here.
Oh, the one that's 80
Yeah.
feet away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the cool thing. You don't actually have to go and create an
Right.
account. It creates one for you. Later on, you can go and fill out the information
Yeah.
if you want. But it just uses your email as your, so.
So, I mean, it's awesome, Jason, that you're using it, and Mike, you're using it. That's amazing.
Right.
And then the other thing, the flip side is we have people who have never blogged before, and
Right.
that's like the real promise of what we're building. Like, we
Right.
want, 2 billion people who have email, who don't have blogs, who haven't even heard of Facebook to
Right.
use us. So that's kind of the big promise, what we're trying to
And
really
if you look at the history of sort of publishing on the web, you had to know how to set up a server. Then you didn't know how to set up a server, but you knew how to set up the software on the server.
Yeah.
Then it went to, you don't have to set up the software or the server, you just need to know how to do HTML. Then it went to, you know how to use HTML editor, and then it was using a web form, and now you've even gotten rid of the web form.
Exactly.
It's just send an email.
Yep.
It's that simple. It's a brilliant idea.
Thank you very much.
I was asking you before I was interrupted by Mike's very important announcement about your investor base.
Absolutely.
I know Bill Lee.
Yes, Bill Lee, who did Remark.
Who
He
did
was-
Remark, was a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
He invested. How did you meet him?
Actually, through a bunch of our other investors. So
Oh.
Eric Hahn, ex-CTO of Netscape, Satish Dharmaraj, founder of Zimbra. And we kind of just, met so many people through that, and Y Combinator Demo Day, and all these different places.
So were you Boston-based? Is that how you got?
Yeah, so we were in Boston-based, and we moved out
What were you
here.
in Harvard or something like that?
No, I mean, we both
Boston
went to
College?
Stanford. We were out here. We actually just went
actually
there
said
for
that
YC.
Ah, I see. So
Yeah.
Y Combinator was being hosted out here,
Sorry, out in Boston.
out in Boston.
Yep.
So you went to Boston to be in Y Combinator?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, we couldn't wait because there were 2 sessions.
Ah.
And we were like, well, we have this idea now. We want to do this now.
And so what are the deal terms with Y Combinator, and why did you choose it?
So they take on average around 6%,
Okay.
and in return give you like some, 15,000. Like, you really don't do it for the money.
Right.
You really do it for the connections.
So
and the demo
15,000
day.
for 6%, which is, who cares? It's,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just an
It's
idea at that
pittance,
point.
right.
So they get a nice piece of the action. And then they put you in a dorm room or in a big conference room? How
No,
does
I
it
mean,
work?
Basically, you have weekly dinners, so it's kind of like joining like startup fraternity or something, actually. But at the same time, they bring in people who have built startups before.
Have you ever been in to speak at one of their weekly dinners?
You
They
should
have
actually
a-
do. You should absolutely do it.
You'd be a
You would
great
be
speaker,
really
yeah.
phenomenal.
Okay, so where do they have dinner? How many people are at the dinner? How many people are in your class?
So YC has an office. They have about 20 startups at any given. They have 2 batches a year. They have about 20 to 25 startups per session, and we all just meet, and it's kind of a genesis for, hey, every week I gotta get 10 more features out, or I have to write X amount of code and make this real because I have about 30 or 40 people who I'm gonna kind of
Disappoint.
feel,
It's a big thing with
disappoint
Paul
or
Graham,
feel
getting
good in
code
front
done.
of.
Right, so there's a competitive aspect to it? You're feeling
Absolutely.
like
Well, I mean, it's not. You'd think there would be, but
Right.
surprisingly there isn't. So.
you just want to perform because you think, hey, everybody's expecting this from me and I want to do
Yeah.
good.
There's really like a band of brothers thing there because not only are you like kind of you have really close relationships with the people who you're in the batch with,
Right.
but also all of the alums, and the alums include like Scribd, that document
Yep.
management company.
Great company.
Great company. Justin TV, Reddit, Loop, like all of these guys have built really amazing stuff.
Good
Dropbox.
stuff.
Have
Yeah.
we even? have you? I know this isn't a political show. We need to rebuild New Orleans, don't you think?
Absolutely.
I think it's a little too dangerous to live there. We might want to give Mother Nature New Orleans
about
and,
Detroit?
and pick another
Michael
place.
Rules.
Michael Rules. Is that what they wanted you to say?
Those are the tunes.
So if you haven't been able to afford a sponsorship to the show, just send
like
a
it
message
could be,
to
yeah.
@Arrington and
Literally,
we'll read
I
it
will
during the
literally
show.
say anything.
He's literally going to say anything you want. If you want to
Literally.
say
If you're comfortable
that
typing it into Twitter,
Mashable, if you want to say
Just do
Mashable is
that
a horrible
just
spam
do
blog.
At Arrington. Just do at Arrington, and then we're good. Yeah.
Okay, so
No, do you even read his blog? I mean, there's so much interesting stuff to talk about with Posterous. It doesn't have to do with things that happened a year and a half ago. For instance,
okay,
3 days ago, he wrote a blog post, a Posterous post, that said, if our growth rates continue for the next, how many years? 7?
4 years,
Next
like
4
2013
years,
or so. Yeah.
we will have more users than the population of the Earth.
That was a joke, but
It was a joke, but it shows that they have had consistent 25% month-over-month growth for
Yeah.
over a year now. That's amazing, right?
Thank
pretty
you, sir.
impressive.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, while we're on the show, he is posting photos of us. I mean, that's how
Yeah.
easy it is to use. You just took a picture
I just did
of
it
us.
with our new Pick Posterous
What is Pick
iPhone
Posterous?
app.
So, it's an iPhone app.
Yeah, the iPhone app is, let's just click a button and have that photo be online, and that's it. Like, don't touch anything, don't type anything.
So
It's
you just have to
there.
put your credentials in once and you're done.
Yeah, so it's like your instant iPhone camera.
Sorry, can I just say 3 more things?
Okay, hold
Click-
on. We have
yeah.
3 more messages from our non-paying sponsors. Go
That's
ahead.
fine. No, these aren't sponsors. I just I
just
really
say who
like
it's from.
the service Expander.
It's collaborative.
xpndr.com.
Expander?
I'm not sure why I like it, but I really do.
It's a porn site?
It very well could be. I also Pittman, New Jersey, one of my favorite places.
Pittman, New Jersey,
Never been there again. Never been. But really
More than
enjoy
Secaucus?
Spending, is that in New Jersey as
Yes.
well? The East Coast is more of a blur to me. I know there's New York and then there's other places. but
Ho-Hocus? Go
I
ahead.
just and Gig Locator is probably the best live music site I've ever seen.
Gig Locator.
Giglocator.com.
Giglocator.com.
Yeah, one of our favorite. We've written about them possibly never on TechCrunch. But
Yes, I
it's-
love Gig Locator myself.
I love ticketstumbler.com, so hey, sorry.
There's
Figure
no
you
tweet
out.
for
It's
that.
just like everybody's getting plugs.
That's right.
All right, somebody I think somebody that Michael Arrington fired is now heckling as well.
Biglocal.ca. I'm
there
going
you
to
go.
close this because otherwise it's not going to work. Yeah.
No, it's fine. So, how much did you raise for the company, and who are the other investors that we left out? You
Absolutely.
Crunchbase.
What's that? Yeah, it is on
It's
Crunchbase.
all on Crunchbase,
but-
but I would like to hear him say for the people who are listening to the podcast who don't have their.
Absolutely. We got Satish Dharmaraj and then Eric Hahn led our round. There's so many people.
How much was it?
Peter Barrett, the guy who wrote Cinepack.
right.
We did 725K angel round. And really, we want to kind of keep it a really lean operation.
How much of that have you burned through?
Less than half, so.
Tell us, so now you've been in existence for, as a live site for 12 months, 14 months?
Yeah,
How many
about
months?
14 months.
Okay, and I'm looking at
Thanks to
Quantcash,
Mike.
you're quantified, you're ranked 1900 already
Yep.
in the United States, 1.7 million uniques. Pretty impressive.
It's small but big.
It's a lot of
so
Twitter
we're psyched.
links
For the
to me.
first year, pretty big.
That's one of the things. Is that there's so many. Every time I post a picture, it goes out to everybody on Twitter that
Yeah.
follows me, et cetera, and also friend feed and also Facebook, and so that's got to drive a ton of traffic, right?
Yeah,
From the
absolutely.
social networks.
Yeah, I mean, the past links thing is absolutely true. I mean, you just can't
What
get.
percentage of the traffic is referral?
Shoot, I actually don't know off the top of my
25%?
head. It's
No,
like at least
80%.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
but
within-
search traffic
around
would
like
probably
over
be-
half. Search is like the rest, right?
Yeah.
But
And some direct. I mean,
Yeah.
some people must type it in directly, or people who go there. But actually, you probably have many customers who don't go to the site.
yeah, they just send email
I'm one
and
of
that's
them.
it. So it's like
I
the
don't go
ultimate
to the
client.
site, yeah.
It's
The one thing I did tell you that I didn't like
Yes.
was I wanted to have something, one of the other sites be my default.
Yep.
So when it tweets, I wanted it to reconcile when I do a photo, go to Flickr. When I do a video, go to YouTube. When I do a blog post, go to my blog.
Yep. I think we
It-
talked about this on
Yeah,
Twitter.
too complicated? Or?
No, it's doable. We just got to figure out a way,
Right.
You just probably
There's-
need one other user to want it, right? And then you'd probably
I know, but if you were a professional person
Absolutely.
doing it, you might say, I really want to send people to Flickr because I want the comments over on Flickr.
Yeah.
And for YouTube, I want the comments on YouTube.
For
I
pro
understand-
users, we got to do it.
You got to do it. And I
You're
understand for
talking about for
Posterous.
the comments?
No, when I tweet,
Yeah.
it defaults. First, it would put Posterous at the beginning, Posterous at the end. It was like an ad for Posterous, so I turned off tweeting. I said, can I edit the default message? Gary got back to me within a couple of days and made it so there's an advanced setting you could change how it tweets. So I took out Posterous. It's like
So
it's
that's
not-
great.
My
So what do
tweet
you
is
want
not
now?
it.
Yeah.
The second thing I want is it defaults when I do a Posterous to the Posterous blog. In the case that I post an image, I would like it to default to the Flickr URL. In the case I post a video, I'd like it to default to YouTube. In the case of a blog post, to calacanis.com, because I want to have the default comment be each of those sites for each of those media types. So if attached photo,
Then why
Flickr,
aren't you posting photos to Flickr and skipping Posterous for that?
because I also want the photo to go to Posterous, to go to Facebook.
You know, on Flickr, you can only see your last 200 images unless you paid, the
I
premium
pay.
fee. Yeah, and you know,
and
if
I
you
would
stop
pay,
paying
and I
the
would
premium
pay
fee-
actually if you make this an advanced feature for $5 a month, $30 a year, whatever it is, $10 a month, I would pay for it.
Well, we're
actually.
going to hold you to that. So.
You know,
I will.
Flickr's a
I would
ripoff,
be
though.
honored to be the
Flickr-
first person to give a credit card.
Flickr, once you stop paying, stops you from seeing. They hold your old photos hostage. So I was
They do.
I was a long time Flickr premium user.
Yep.
Stopped, and now I can't see my old photos.
But you can
So-
if you pay them $50.
Yeah, so
My
which I'm not
favorite
going
thing-
to do. So hold on one second. So
Absolutely.
I'm done. Like I'm done with Flickr. I'm even on Yahoo's product advisory board. Board, and I'm like, I won't use this product anymore. I'm done. Done. Facebook has it right. And Facebook
Yahoo's
obviously-
dead to you.
so- in many ways, Yahoo's dead to me.
It's kind
but,
of
yeah.
interesting,
We can talk. You want to talk that all day?
I don't really wanna bring it
a
up.
train wreck followed by a train wreck. Yeah.
Basically,
It's like somebody ran over them in a car, and then like a horse ran over them, and then so
Yeah.
they scooped it up.
And then a nuclear bomb.
It's just terrible.
then the Earth grew back.
Bring
and-
Jerry back. That's
Earth-
what I say. Like, how do we get him back?
Yeah, that would be great. Then the company goes sideways in another 2 years.
Sideways might be better than where they're going.
I'm not going to say I disagree because I may wind up having a strategic partnership with them later on. So I will not say anything negative, except it has been a train wreck.
I found in my career, if I just speak the truth, what I really believe all the time, and then
Right.
let everything else fall into place, it works out better than always being worried about what strategic relationships and sponsors
I
are
actually
out there.
agree. I agree.
And so,
I
well,
wrote-
yeah, so
Yeah, my post was Yahoo committed seppuku.
it's a good post.
Let
And you
me-
ripped on Apple too.
Gary,
Oh, back to Posterous.
entrepreneur
Yes, sir.
you admire most,
Entrepreneur.
I'm present
admire
company
most.
excluded.
excluding us.
Yeah, yeah.
No, entrepreneurs you respect most, entrepreneurs you look to for advice. I mean, there's probably two categories: people who you don't know, who
Absolutely.
you respect, and then people who you do know.
I mean,
who
the
you look-
obvious ones are our investors. I mean, I have
Right.
to say that. Like
Well,
Paul
which
Graham.
one?
come
Why
on.
would you have to say that?
Who's
Well,
your
Paul Graham, of course. Like, he gave us our start.
I mean,
Right.
obviously, the
But is
people
that
give
who
us
you
money are
when
the
you
people
have
I'm gonna
when
say
you
that.
need, who do you
I mean,
call when you need advice?
That's ridiculous.
Our lead investor.
Oh my God!
Which
Okay,
ones?
besides people who have invested in you or are
Absolutely.
sitting within 3 feet of you right now,
Yeah.
who do you respect in the world?
Yeah. Who do you when
you
you,
know
grow
what?
up? Who do you want to be?
I want to be an entrepreneur, which is great.
Which one? If you
Which
could be-
one?
Yeah. If you could be any of them, which one would you want?
Oh,
to
I'd
be?
want to be Bezos.
Has he given you
Probably.
money?
No.
Okay, so that's
We
an
love,
honest answer.
you know,
Why
hey,
Bezos?
that'd be great. He's just able to turn every industry he's touched into gold. I mean,
Really?
maybe not, but although he's had one act in shopping, he's doing another in cloud, and the cloud is real. We don't exist without
Right.
cloud. You
Right.
know, half the startups in the valley can't exist without cloud. Right.
Right.
That's real, even though everyone's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's totally real.
Yeah, it's happening.
He has the foresight of even bringing on Zappos. Like,
Right.
who would do that?
Right.
Most people would be like, let's crush Zappos.
Right. And he says
He's like-
stronger with them.
Exactly.
And Kindle you left out.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's
I mean,
no brainer.
I have to agree. I think he's probably the most underrated CEO
Yep.
of this generation because everybody thinks, oh, he just sells books.
Yeah.
They don't understand what goes into Amazon and the
Absolutely.
impact it's had on so many industries. Almost every industry can talk about how Amazon has impacted, anybody who's selling anything, certainly. And the Kindle, I mean, talk about a ballsy move. I mean, what does he have to do with hardware? Never created any hardware in his life, and all of a sudden he decides he's going to create something to go up against Sony. And then when you look at cloud computing, as you point out, he's going up against Microsoft, Google, and IBM.
And whooping them.
And they're not even coming close. Rackspace. This is these people bread and butter. He's doing it as a side. I remember when he was at the eTech conferences or all these conferences 5-6 years ago, sitting there amongst all the developers watching the discussions. He goes to the eTech conference, to FU, to these kind of things, and chills and listens to developers and what they want. You don't see a lot of other CEOs in that level doing
absolutely.
I agree.
So how do you guys make money? There's no ads on the site.
Yep.
It's on volume.
So you're losing about $3 or $4 per customer, and at the rate you're going to have burned through all the money on the planet as well in 4 years. How do you stop this?
We're actually an incredibly lean team. So I mean,
how many
actually,
people?
3 people and a contractor. So
your staff is 4 people. You've done all this with 4 people.
We just got an office for the first time about a month ago.
Sometimes simplicity isn't actually hard. I mean, it's they've just done something very simple and very easy to use, and users are flocking to it.
I think you have to do less, actually. Like people try too many things. So.
They really do.
Yeah.
That's the Twitter rule. I mean, it's Ed Williams, design.
Well,
do less.
There's a couple features I wouldn't mind on Twitter. To be honest. Like maybe just one feature a year or every other year.
Threaded
like
messages.
Yeah.
Statistics.
I mean, but they're focusing on uptime, and I'm sure within the next 10 years they'll get that platform stable. So.
Did you go to dinner with Evan this week?
Me?
And Jack?
No, but I saw Evan and he shook my hand.
Really?
First time I've seen him since the event, and we shook hands and talked, and it was a nice moment.
Really?
Yeah.
That feels
I
well.
asked him for an update. I said, I only have the documents through June. It's been a couple months. An update would be nice.
An update would be good. I'll make a note of it. Yes.
And, the funny thing is, we were all very amicable during that whole episode.
Yes.
We were talking to him and Biz consistently throughout. They were thanking us. We were plugging some holes. They were awfully strong in their posts where they were threatening lawsuits with us, but that. It was never going to happen. I mean, we were actually helping them the whole time by plugging some of these holes.
Garry, what do you think of what Mike did in publishing those documents?
No comment.
Why?
Well, I think you have to do what you have to do, right?
That's
I think you have to do what you have to do.
Well, if I'm Evan Williams and Mike's here at the same time, are you going to do?
If I was Evan, I would be angry.
Okay.
But if I was Mike, I would probably do it.
My phone's freaking out.
Why?
Do you think it's any different than an executive who leaks documents to the press? And do you think it's any ethical situation? If you think the ethics of the situation is different for the journalist than in a situation like that?
Well, what if someone stole the documents, right? Like that's kind of more.
It is actually. If an executive leaks documents to the press,
I guess
it's effectively stealing them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it actually is violating a contract. And plus, you'd think that a hacker, somebody you can't trust, you need to protect yourself against hackers. But you think the people around you in your executive team are the people? Sorry, my Android phone is. It's having an orgasm. You'd think that not trusting the people around you is actually worse. So a hacker gets into your system and downloads some pretty interesting files. I don't really see why you could be upset with a blogger for publishing them.
Right.
Truth is, at Engadget, we were celebrated for releasing documents about and products and product images from companies across a range of industries. And if this had been the next Apple tablet or iPhone, it would not have been an issue. People have been thrilled with Mike publishing it or Engadget or anybody or Walt Bossberg. So it is a little bit of BS. Mike has made some enemies over his time, so people wanted to use this as a way to go after him because Twitter is so loved. It was totally unfair. Mike was totally in the right.
I'm the victim.
And Mike also showed great restraint.
I did.
He released no more than 2% of the documents. There was stuff in there that could have been truly damaging. He went with the soft stuff.
There was.
I agree with.
There was stuff that was damaging.
I agree with Mike's position.
And so do I.
He did the right thing.
Yeah, I also
well, you
agree
won
with
me
Mike's
over,
position,
actually.
But, I need to go.
Okay.
Because I have something going on tonight, so I have to go to the store.
I see.
And so.
Is this the thing you were telling me about before?
Yeah, it was, but that was between us.
I'm leaving it between us. Good luck.
Thank you. So I have to go, but is that okay? Do you want to throw me off? Should we have a
twit? Can you twit pick tonight? What's going on?
Is this actually? Can we just back up a bit? I know it's a lot. Can we back up and you want to throw me off? We can have a fight. Did you pay for that phone? Did you pay for that fucking phone?
F you, Arrington. That's it. I'm throwing you guys off the network. I'm Leo Laporte with the greatest moment.
I can't believe you didn't pay for that phone.
Of course I pay for all my phones. Who's giving me why would anybody give me anything for free?
Hey, listen, I'll catch the rest of this later.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Take care, Mikey.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. Mike Arrington of TechCrunch fame, TechCrunch 50 fame. You'll all be seeing him on September 14th and 15th at the TechCrunch 50 event. Garry, what did you do before Posterous?
I was actually, if you believe it, a PM at Microsoft for Windows Mobile.
You were a PM,
Right out of college.
product manager.
Yep.
Out of college.
Yep.
Out of Stanford.
Yep.
Undergrad or?
Undergrad.
So you get out of Stanford, you're 23 years old, 22?
Yep, 22.
And you go apply for a job at Microsoft.
Well, it was kind of the doldrums. I thought the web was dead, and it was a complete mistake.
What year is this?
03, 02, 03.
Cool.
You know, all the startups I'd ever worked with are absolutely dead.
Down with it.
All right, good, excellent.
Don't mean to interrupt.
No, it's quite all right. Mike Arrington is now moving the cameras. You can show him moving the cameras. It's fine. Here. Yeah, great. We lost our shot. Okay. Anyway.
Here, let me fix it there.
Thanks. Appreciate it. It's probably got like my side of my head or something. Sorry about that.
Oh, not at all.
He wanted to jump in. The audience loves a little Mike Arrington.
Yep.
Actually, viewership stopped a little bit after he left.
Did it really? Yeah.
Did it really?
Everybody who was tuning out has now tuned back in. Thank God. So 2002.
Yep.
You go to work
And
for Microsoft. How was work? You worked there for 2 years, 3
I
years?
learned a lot, and
How many years?
actually, to be honest, 2 years, and
Good.
I learned both things to do and things not to do.
Right.
So
Amongst the things to do would be?
you just run your product. Well, I guess this is more of not to do. Like
Okay,
you
give me the not
just
to do.
need to do less, and that's one thing that I blogged about recently. Was the first thing I asked was, what happens when you want to get rid of a feature?
Right.
And my boss was like, she'd been at Microsoft for about 10 years, and she's totally, a PM's PM in that org. And
Right.
she was like, just
What?
what are you talking about?
talking
Like
about?
you would never do that.
Right.
And over those 2 years, I learned actually it takes so much time,
Right.
and so much effort, and so much begging people, so much work on the part of the PM to
Right.
get people to
Agree.
to put a feature in.
To sunset a feature.
Yeah, to like get rid
to
of
get
one.
it in.
Yeah, to get
so
it
let
in.
alone taking it out.
Yeah, it's so painful to get it in.
So
that
why don't you just take it
taking
out without telling anybody and see if anybody notices?
Oh yeah, well PMs don't have code commit access, so that's another thing
and so
I learned.
if they go tell somebody to take it out, they would say, "Where's the rec or something?" Where's
Yeah, exactly. Like
they
10
need-
people see it.
I
It's
see.
just.
Really? So it's very slow, also.
Well, that's one of the other thing is we actually did ship products into Vista,
Right.
and that was unbelievable because there was a checklist of 20,000 things you had to do before you got out the door. And so
Wow.
that's kind of like that's the tyranny of large organizations, right? You just can't
Move quick.
Yeah, you can't move quick because you're an older person, an older gentleman who has to make sure the door's locked and close all the windows and check the pilot light and these 10,000 things that have bitten you in the past.
Right.
You just don't let it.
Got
You
it.
don't want that to ever happen, but that also slows you down like crazy.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And so now, 14 months you've been out.
Yep.
You raised, I think, 700,000.
I wish 700 million.
700 million, right? 700,000.
What's the valuation?
Was
on
it?
7
Yeah.
million?
700,000. I think that means you owe them your next 3 startups.
That's right.
This startup
At
plus
least.
2 more.
And like 10 lives afterwards. Or
Absolutely.
something.
And if you hit the lottery, it's theirs too. They have a 4x liquidation preference.
That's
so All
right.
you have to do is hit $3 billion.
That might happen.
You raised 700,000, if I remember
Yep,
correctly. Is that
that's
right?
correct.
And so that's sort of like an A round you did, or was it a convertible A?
It was a convertible seed. I mean, it was basically pre-Series A.
So for the people who don't understand what a convertible is, it basically
Absolutely.
means they give you the money,
Yep,
and at some later date, you do a formal A round,
that's correct.
and then whatever price that's out, the investors agree that they will get that amount of equity.
That's right. That's right.
And it's a little risky for them because you could go out and work really hard, have a huge success, and then their 700,000 goes in at a $14 million valuation as opposed to a
But there
$7
is
million
something you can do
valuation.
there. And this is actually becoming a lot more common. I'm surprised no one really talks about
Cap?
it. They do a cap, exactly.
So
And so
up
we
to
did do
20.
a cap.
What was the cap? 12 million or something?
I
like
can't
that?
say. That's the pre-money,
Oh,
right?
okay. So you basically have but it's it wouldn't be more than 12 million
Yep.
or something.
Yep.
It would have to be in the range of an average A round, which I think the average A round is 7 or 8 million.
Yep.
So that's fair to them. So they're
Absolutely.
like, do the best you can, and if you don't have if you don't ever do the round, if you become profitable, it becomes a loan with interest, or does it have a default price?
I actually don't know off the top of my head what happens there. So
I think it becomes.
It's pretty ambiguous based on what terms you agree to.
And they felt comfortable with doing that, and they know you guys aren't going to screw them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we wanted to do it because, actually, if you're doing a small round, like 700K or so, you could actually burn like 10% of that on legal fees if you do a straight up equity round.
Yes.
And so if you do debt, everyone kind of wins, like except the lawyers maybe, but
because it's only a letter agreement or something.
Exactly,
like
it costs
$5,000, $10,000,
something like that instead of like 50 or 70,000, right?
Little tip when you do your first round: negotiate a flat rate.
All right, that's a good tip.
You shouldn't pay more than at this point in the valley you could negotiate $15,000-$20,000 to do your first round, because they might want the business for the second round. You can't do that every round. If you do a second round, you make a lot of money. They're going to probably want the 50.
Yeah.
But it's not unreasonable considering the amount of work they put into it. And so you're learning all these things on the fly. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And so where do you go to get all this information to be an entrepreneur? You sort of got fast-tracked into Y Combinator. So that's like all of a sudden you're thrown in the river. Then you're in Silicon Valley and you've got Bill Lee investing, who's a pretty serious
really
guy.
Great guy.
Guy Kawasaki and all those other great guys.
We got Tim Ferriss in there too.
Tim Ferriss,
he's actually an
doesn't
amazing.
work.
That's right.
I love the Tim Ferriss thing. People are like, "What do you think of this book? You work 4 hours a week." I was like, "I think that if you work 4 hours a week, it'd be a failure." But the point of his book is work efficiently.
Yes,
not
absolutely.
be a slacker.
I think he works more than 4 hours.
I have a feeling.
Yeah.
It's link baiting with it. Average, you have 3 people on the team right now. So, what do you say the average amount of hours you put in per week?
As much as possible if I'm awake. So that's just one of those, how it is.
Work 7 days a week.
Try to, yeah. Though it's after a year, I mean, are you able to do it? Like, have you been able to keep like a 7-day-a-week schedule, or do you?
I actually work every day.
Yep.
With very rare exception.
Yep.
Now I might work 2 hours or 1 hour in a day.
Yeah.
But I love what I do, and so me working might be me writing a blog post or an editorial. It may be me checking statistics and thinking about something. It might be taking out my sketch pad and
it's not like
drawing some stuff.
20 hours every day. It's not
and that's
possible.
unnecessary, I think.
Absolutely.
But if you're a coder, if you're a salesperson, 60, 70 hours a week at a startup company, if you've got
you just have
equity, is pretty much required.
You have no choice. Like
You do have a choice. You could either be a product manager at Microsoft and work 50 hours a week, or you can own a third of your company like you probably do and work.
Exactly.
That's
why we do it, right?
Yeah. And now's the time to do it when you're young. You're 26, 27
28.
Now? You're 28. It's the perfect time to do it. You're in the sweet spot. This is probably 28 to 45 are your most active years.
Yeah.
Married, kids, none of that now?
Not yet.
No. You get to date a lot of girls or no?
What's that? Oh, I have, a steady girlfriend.
You have a steady girlfriend?
She tolerates it.
She tolerates it.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like she's taking it too well, but she's
No,
tolerating
she's great. She's great.
She's good about it? She supports you?
Absolutely.
I think it's very important for an entrepreneur to find a partner, whether it's male or female, that is very supportive of their dreams and what they're doing, because it will not work otherwise.
Yeah, you're right.
And so what have the challenges been with the startup? Where have you sort of had the hardest time?
I mean, part of it is we want to do something that's a little different from a lot of the Web 2.0 companies out there, and that's let's cut all the way to the bone in terms of how the resources that we need.
Right.
But the thing is, you can do that now. The cloud means that you don't need a sysadmin. Like if you can do it, then you should do it.
Right.
Of course, that means waking up at 3 a.m. when your pager goes off. But that's
price you pay.
Might be working then anyway. So
it's I guess it's okay for the first year or two.
Yep.
And you get to the end of year 2, you're at 1.9 million uniques. You start hitting 4 or 5 million uniques.
You think we should hire a few?
Yeah, I think you might want to have a sysadmin or 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you become the 400th, 500th largest site on the internet, maybe time to close that A round and get a couple servers. Sure. I mean, the fact that you've gotten further than Jimmy Wales did with Wikia Search. I mean,
oh, how funny!
As an example,
I didn't really think about that.
Nobody can get anywhere, and he raised tons of money. So I mean, he failed.
But Wikipedia, they're one of the biggest sites on the web, and they they got 30 people, right? And so
they've got a lot of servers too.
They do
in multiple locations.
Absolutely.
Like really huge architecture.
What did you think about that article in Wired about Wikipedia? Did you see this?
Which one is this?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean. I meant
Craigslist.
Sorry.
I didn't read it. I saw all the headlines. I saw the tech meme stuff. I was very busy with TechCrunch 50 companies getting them ready. What exactly was the point of it all? That it's a failure or something, or?
No, it's just that they're so quirky. They're just madly quirky, and they are.
Yeah.
They don't let any. They don't let app developers, for instance. Like I was so surprised that they let housingmaps.com exist. This was one of the first mashups, right? They just don't play nice with the rest of the web.
Right. Craig's feeling on it is this is our community.
Yep.
It's our community's content, and we don't want anybody else taking that content and messing with it.
Right.
And it's very much against the, I guess, the API sort of concept, but it's his right to do that.
Yep.
And if that really is what he should do, then somebody else will do it.
Yeah.
If it's better for the market.
But it's kind of like Apple, though, right? Like.
In a way, it is.
Yeah.
Except in the Apple case, I think in his case, he's protecting what he owns.
Absolutely.
In their case, Steve Jobs is limiting what you own. You bought the phone.
Yeah.
You paid for it. It's not like Craig saying you can't create your own site. He's saying you can't take my data and do crazy stuff with it because I want to protect my users. And there is an argument to that. He wants to protect the users.
It's an ownership thing then.
Yeah.
Your phone is your home, kind
Right.
of, and you feel like someone's coming in and saying you can't have that in your home.
Right. You can't use this application. I mean, if Craig said once you put your ad on our site, you don't own it anymore, that'd be different.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is my job is to be the steward of all these ads and make sure somebody doesn't recollect them and repurpose them in another way that the people who put them up wouldn't want them.
Right.
So he stops mashups all the
Interesting.
time. I mean, people make visual mashups of it, and the argument people typically use is it's so ugly, and the interface is so 1.0, negative 1.0, that I should be allowed to do it. But that doesn't give you the right to do it. It gives you the right to start your own.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do admire their minimalism. Like they take that to the max.
They do.
Yeah.
They do keep it super simple.
Yeah.
And so what next for the company? Just continued growth? Or
Absolutely. We
any
just
big
want to
plans?
keep growing. And, well, we have theming coming. And you know,
Theming?
yes.
Oh, so I'll be able to put a
You'll be
theme.
able to-
Mine won't look like yours.
Yeah, you can make it look like whatever you want.
Great. So is that going to be like some open template thing? You're going to people be able to trade them, or like WordPress themes or something?
I think you'll be hearing about it really soon.
Yeah, well, give us a little taste. What are we talking about here? Is it just color palettes and stuff like that? Or?
Oh, it's more than that. So it will be full templating.
Oh,
so
full templating.
That's
Wow,
right.
Great.
And I mean, one thing that we'd love to do is actually, PHP was the way you did it back, up until now. We want to kind of be the next level for that.
Ah, I see. So maybe there's some sort of templating standard.
So that's really vague, but I think
I get it.
you kind of
I
you
think I
can
get
see
it.
where it's going.
I think maybe you're going to make it a little easier to make the templates. Maybe some tools to make the templates or something.
Absolutely.
And buy and sell them, which it seems like WordPress themes is a big market for people buying and selling them.
Exactly.
It's pretty amazing. Let me ask you about video. I know people email videos in, and then you do all the encoding and everything. How do you do all that? Is that just with a Flash encoding server or something like that?
That's FFmpeg, all open source. But I mean, the interesting thing about video is people think that it's very difficult.
Right.
And actually, really early on, I think we were still. So, back in Somerville doing
Right.
YC, and actually Sachin and I were like actually bunking. It was straight up just like college all over again. And, we're trying to, we're in that cycle of let's get new features out all the time, every day, like we need to do something new. And we were talking to this other company that I won't name names, but they do video. There are a billion of them now that do video for other startups.
Sure.
And they're like, we understand encoding better than everyone else.
Sure, Brightcove.
Yeah, I mean,
Keep going.
and what we found was it's not that hard.
Right.
It's, Sachin, he's a brilliant guy. He worked in video for years and years.
Right.
So maybe that it's extra easy for him. But we used all off-the-shelf components to be able to we basically added video the next day.
Right.
And then we
Super
were like,
simple.
actually, well, I guess we just added it.
Put it
but
on
thank
EC2
you.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
your EC2 bill can't be that huge.
Yeah. Exactly.
bit big?
No, it's totally reasonable. We're actually on Rackspace, so.
Oh.
Slice
How is that
host, and
going?
They're great. I mean,
Yeah?
they've been
Okay.
really, really responsive.
Good. We actually co-locate all our stuff now.
Yeah.
We have 2 sysadmins, but when you get to 4, 5, 6 million, you start to want to have a little more control over it,
Absolutely.
a little more scalability. You'll get there, I think, very quickly.
I mean, I actually think they're doing some cool stuff where, why should Amazon own the cloud? So
Yeah, there
they're
should be some
kinda-
competition there. I think.
Exactly.
Absolutely. What do the other services think of you? Do the Flickrs and the YouTubes, I guess they would like you because you're making it easier for people to put more content in their system?
Yeah.
They see it as
Everyone kind of
competitive, or-
wins, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, we haven't had any pushback yet. So, and honestly, we we really built it because people wanted it. So that's one thing that we do. We always answer our email box immediately, or within 24 hours. So
I was amazed by it. I guess I tweeted at some point like, this is cool or whatever, but I want to change this thing, and you were just immediately on it.
Yeah.
I think that's the type of product obsession that's going to make you guys do really well.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I think it's a pretty good show, Tyler.
Love it.
Good show, and we have to go back to rehearsals here at Sequoia.
Correct.
Wait, no Tyler's insight?
No insights from Tyler.
No.
Ah.
We could do a fake little
disappointed.
news thing. We could run through Tech Meme real quick.
What time is the next? 2 o'clock.
2.
2?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, Tyler, sit here for a second. We'll have Tyler do the news for a second here. We'll go a couple of news stories. Here goes Tyler, and I forgot to tell everybody in the audience, or ask everybody in the audience, to do what they do every week, which I very much appreciate, which is show appreciation for the sponsors. Everybody in the audience knows that thanking the sponsors on Twitter is how we've convinced them to up for 20 shows. Think about that. 20 shows these people signed on for. 2 contracts, 2 checks, enough to make this show go on and on and on. We're going to be here for a long time just based on these 4 great sponsors, and the more love you show them on Twitter, the more we can do. I was going to take this week off and next week off, but then I decided to send Alex up here and all this gear up here and do it. You got to see the show this week because these guys gave us the money. It's not cheap to bring all this set up here and keep all these cameras. One of the cameras broke, thousands of dollars. You get the whole idea. The sponsors make this possible. We have to thank the sponsors. The sponsors are very easy to thank. It takes you about 30 seconds, and you could do this if you're listening to this show a year from now, a week from now, or live. At WebSpy, at DNA Mail, at Ustream, pretty easy, and at Audible_com, at Audible_com. Just thank them, and somebody who's thanking them right now, Tyler's going to look at search.twitter.com, and Tyler or Alex are going to pick one of you people who thanks the sponsors today, Friday afternoon. I have no idea what today is, September 4th maybe?
Yep.
4th.
September 4th, we're going to pick one of you guys. How did we do on the review, episode 13?
Really crappy. We only got 25.
Only 25, are you kidding me,
Yeah.
25 people?
Only 25 people emailed reviews.
So, you know what we did last time, Gary? You
Yes.
know I'm a master at marketing
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It is true.
absolutely, completely.
So, in addition to doing the Twitter thanking the sponsor thing, which provides more value, frankly, than me doing the commercial live. Although they say they like the commercial live, I think they're just doing that to make me feel good about it. They love the fact that the fans are so rabid for the show that they do it. Have you ever thanked the sponsors on Twitter? Be honest.
I will.
But you will.
I will now,
And
for sure.
you'll be proud to do it, I bet. And I would be proud to do it for your company because I love your product. And that's really what it's about.
Absolutely.
You know, I love Audible. I use Audible all the time. And everybody knows the Audible homework, which we'll probably go over next week, is
Accidental Billionaires.
The Accidental Billionaires, which is the book of, did you read that book?
I haven't.
So you download Audible.
Okay.
You go to Audible Podcast,
Audiblepodcast.com/twist.
audiblepodcast.com/twist, which is linked off of This Week in Startups. They'll give you like half price for the first 3 months. You go there, you sign up, you get 2 books a month. It's ridiculous.
Awesome.
And this is the book about Zuckerberg and how they blah, 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 blah.
No, I got to check that
This
out
is the one
then.
Zorkin's making the movie about, right? I think this is one that the Facebook movie's based on. But anyway, we're going to listen to that and do homework on the next show or the show after. But Audible, great for sponsoring it. And I was talking about, what was I talking about? Marketing? Oh, so I had a marketing
You're a
idea.
genius of marketing.
I am a genius of marketing. This is the greatest idea ever. In the evil genius, like the catalog of evil geniuses, it's me, Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Dr. Evil from whatever the other film was.
Bizarro Superman.
Bizarro Superman, Mixoplex. Who's the guy from Star Trek Next Generation? Q? Was it Q?
Was he really a
Q.
villain?
Q.
I guess
Sort
so.
of like, he was a
He's just
mischievous character who could be a villain one episode, could be your friend the next. Anyway, in this evil genius vein, I said, whoever wants an iPhone on the last show, because we're sponsored, I want to get a little more interest in the show. I said, write a review of the show. Whoever writes the most compelling review gets an iPhone.
Excellent.
3GS. In the form of a $500 gift card.
Yep.
So if you're going to buy a $199 iPhone, you get like $300 worth of minutes, or like that's like in the first 4 months free or something. I don't know what it costs. But
And this is on
basically-
top of the thousands of dollars in knowledge that you get every single
Absolutely.
hour
Well, I
that
mean,
you
from
watch
the
this.
guests, primarily from the guests on the show, I'll be honest. I mean, I ran out of ideas after episode 7. Now I'm just riding off the guest coattails. People know about Y Combinator, how you did that, how you met one investor, Paul Graham, all of a sudden introduced one, you asked that one for 2 more investors, they tell their friends, all of a sudden you got around doing convertible. We went over a lot of stuff today.
I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to do, Ask Jason or the pitch one. That would have been awesome.
We didn't have to do Shark Tank. You know what? It's a little bit rough to do all of those things on a remote.
Absolutely.
So when we do remotes, I think the remote. I want to do the show every week.
Yep.
So basically, I think anytime we're in another country, I'm bringing Alex with all the gear.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if I'm in Tokyo, Korea. We're going to do This Week in Startups.
That's really
I'm committing
cool.
to doing it every week, with the exception of the weeks when my daughter is going to be born in December. Maybe I'll take
Congratulations.
a week or 2 after that. Yeah.
Live from Reagan Memorial.
Yeah, live from UCLA Medical Center. So can you pull up the page on Twist where we see 25 reviews? And I think we won't announce the winner, but should we do this again for this episode?
Yeah, I think just continue it in one big contest.
Okay, so there's a review page. If you go to This Week in Startups, that will show the 25 reviews you put on there, and you can actually see. Have you kept that updated, Alex?
Yeah.
So we have an updated list.
An hour ago.
Scrolling down, you'll probably find the review contest. Click on that, or you can show his desktop maybe.
Yeah.
And look at all these people who reviewed. I can't see their names from here. Who do we got, Tyler?
Patrick Mahon, Lee's Daily Blog, Elegant Machines, Scott Parisi, Opus Apps, Scott Simcoe of Twist Recap, Ted's Blog, Jonah Knight, Mike Bulleman, Jason Schulman, Mark Ferguson, John Fairley, Steve Hampton, Darius Dunlap, Cale Muth.
All right, so basically what these people did is, can you pull up Scott Simcoe's, because that's one of the ones I looked at. Look at this, Gary, the level of detail that this person did in the review.
Oh, wow.
So basically, for one iPhone, for $500, I got 25 reviews, which means I paid on average $20 a review. I paid $20 for a user group to give me this level of detail on what they like and don't like about the show.
See,
So
that means you're also a great product guy, because in order to build a product,
Yes.
you need exactly this. You can't do it without
So
your users.
when you get back to your office, you put a Posterous up.
Yep.
I'll retweet it. Whoever comes up with the next 5 features of Posterous gets a free iPhone. 5 best suggestions of what we should add
That's
next.
awesome.
Can
We'll
you
put it on our
imagine how many
homepage.
people will
That's
do
awesome.
it?
Yeah,
I think you'll get 100,
yeah, let's do it.
200.
Yeah,
It's like free advice. Why wouldn't you do it?
yeah.
And so we were going to pick somebody who thanked the sponsors for a free ticket.
Yes.
So you want to just, Gary, why don't you pick somebody? Pick somebody who you think said something interesting, who's got a good-looking avatar.
Oh, this
Anybody
guy
with a
says that I'm
half-ten
smart, so let's do
Oh, he
S.
does say
Grove.
that?
Yeah,
Okay,
hey, done.
so let's view his tweet, and then we can put that on the big screen when you say view tweet there. We can actually see who he is. There you go. Okay, I'll pull that up on the screen, and he's saying,
Thanks very much.
Good. And he enjoyed hearing Gary Tan, smart guy. And that's S. Grove is coming to TechCrunch 50 on the 14th and 15th for free. $3,000 ticket.
That is really, really phenomenal.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. We make dreams come true here on the show. All right, give us a story, Tyler. Pretend you're Elon.
Oh, well, okay then.
Before Tyler does that, don't we need this?
Uh-oh. This better not be
Did you make my own custom one?
No.
You're
I want to see my own custom lawn.
Yeah, like with you with the lawn pose. Okay.
So, what's
give us a
hot,
story.
What's hot in the news? Facebook Mobile now connecting 65 million people on their mobile. I guess that's the iPhone app only. Does it run on another?
No, they have BlackBerry app too.
Oh, there's a BlackBerry.
Yeah. That is stunning but not surprising, I would say.
Right.
People use Facebook as their inbox in a large way. So it's like checking your inbox. And people are posting photos to it and other stuff. So, I mean, in ways, it's competing both with Gmail and with Posterous. What do you think?
With web stuff, we're all competing with everyone else, but not really.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why we did AutoPost, because we don't want people, we're not a destination site. We don't want people to switch necessarily. They got
Right.
people on their other services. We actually just want to provide utility, and that's letting you connect with the people wherever they are. Like, use that stuff. Like, we don't hate, people are always like, oh, you hate Tumblr. We like Tumblr. They're pretty cool,
You
actually.
let people post to Tumblr.
Exactly.
What you don't do, though, however, is let people post to Tumblr and Facebook and Flickr without posting to Posterous. They have to post it to Posterous as well.
Yep.
So you get your piece.
Well,
that is the value. That
yep.
if I use, that's a sort of contract with a service. If I use the service to post my other places, I have to at least put it on your service as well.
Absolutely.
But I could go backwards and delete it all if I were
true.
to be psychotic or
Yeah.
something. Like if I didn't want it to exist anywhere but
Yep.
those places.
If a million people were doing that, we'd be worried, but
Yeah.
it doesn't happen, so
Why
that's
would you
good.
use it in the first place if you're just going to go back and delete it? Isn't that
Yeah.
just
Well, if you wanted to use it, I guess the idea would be if you wanted to use it as a distribution platform, which some people do.
Yep.
I enjoy using it as a distribution platform. Like I would pay for it as software, let alone as its own destination site. But I have started to enjoy it as its own blogging software in and of itself.
Well, hopefully with theming, maybe we can do
I-
something more.
I set up a coupon blog for some of the people on Mahalo.
Oh,
called
yeah.
the Coupon Dude.
We
So
see tons of Mahalo guys now on there. And
all the
we're
Mahalo people
psyched.
love it
Yeah.
because I'll tell you what they do. There's probably 500 people writing how-to articles and these things, and they want to promote them,
Yeah.
frankly. And so what they do is they email their Posterous account, and it goes to Delicious or whatever places it goes to, Tumblr. So they post once, go to many places, they share with their
And
family
then
and friends.
link juice.
And they get a little link juice, I guess. Not that I don't think any of the services you guys link to provide that much anyway.
That's true.
'Cause
That's
Facebook
true.
and
It's all
Twitter-
user generated. You just can't have that much.
Flickr, Facebook, Twitter, all those guys don't pass a lot of link juice anyway.
Yep.
So it's not really for search engine optimization. I think it's for reaching all the different people in your network with what you're working on.
Yep.
So if I'm a how-to writer and I'm writing, how to throw a Harry Potter party, it follows that the people who are friends with me on Flickr or Twitter might be interested in it, so I'll send out my how-to article with a picture of it attached,
Yep,
so that it goes on those other services. So it's pretty. I applaud them for doing it. I've encouraged them to try it, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of them are enjoying it and using it. Next story, Tyler.
Next story. So, former CEO and co-founder of FeedBurner, Dick Costello, now COO over Twitter.
That's amazing. That's fake Saka with Saka, working with Saka,
Yeah.
with real Saka,
Chris
which is
Saka,
awesome.
steering the ship.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes there.
Also, Fred Wilson. I mean, Fred Wilson
Yeah.
was the investor in FeedBurner.
That's true.
What do you think strategically,
Excuse me.
of all the people they could have had come on there? They must have a lot of people interested.
What this says, I'll be honest, if you really want to know what this says to me, I mean, I don't think anybody said this yet.
Okay.
This says to me, Dick Costello is the next CEO.
Why is that?
He comes in as COO, he tries before he buys. He's known as being a great CEO. Ev Williams may not want the CEO slot forever. It's really I'll be honest, being the CEO sucks. Mark Andreessen says it all the time. This company's going to be around for a long time. It needs to have a succession plan. This is it. Dick took one thing over the finish line, $100 million sale to Google after only, 4 years or something? It was a great sale. And they're going to go, Twitter is going to go public. There's no doubt about that. If they wanted to sell for $1 billion or $2 billion, they would have already done it. Fred Wilson wants to go public. Dick wants to take a company public. He didn't get to with his last company. He regrets it probably. Ev Williams probably in some ways regrets selling Blogger too early. Listen, you can't regret getting a bunch of Google pre-IPO stock, but on an emotional level, he probably regrets that a little bit, I think. And so you've got Fred, who wants it to go public. Bijan from Spark Capital wants to take a company public. Dick would like to do that. Basically, you're just setting up the dream team to take this company public. When it does go public, maybe Evan wants to step aside and be chairman and not, spend time with his kid, and not be in that seat where all the arrows come to. I mean, Ev is not, never run a company at scale, and I don't know if he wants to.
Well,
It's really brutal to have that many employees.
Right, because initially he wasn't. So, I mean, if you
Right.
kind of came into it.
Yes, he had.
later,
It was Jack was the founder or whatever, a co-founder, and he was running it. Then it needed a little bit more of Evan's skill set, and then there is going to be a skill set that will be needed after Evans. Listen, and I can tell you the same thing about Mahalo. I'm never taking a company public. I would love to do that at some point. I would love to run a company that has 50 million, 100 million users, but I haven't. So will I be the CEO of Mahalo forever? I hope so. That's my intention. But not everybody has that same intention. Not everybody likes to run a scale business. Based on what I know, I don't think Evan wants to run the business forever. I think you'll see Dick Costello will be the CEO. And I think that would be great. But it may be 2 years from now when they go public, 18 months from now.
So he gets the slow ride in. Gets the
Try before
like
you
the- it's like
try
the
before you
engagement.
buy. Try before you buy for him and for Evan. They get to see how they work together. I'm sure that's what Fred Wilson said. Let's see how you work together. Dick never needs to work again. If he sold for $100 million, I would guess I don't know if he had a co-founder, he had 25% to 35% of the business. If he didn't, he might have had 50% of that business, which means he made $25 to $50 million. He definitely doesn't need to work. Same thing with Evan doesn't need to work. That's a good combination. That's like Eric Schmidt coming to work with Larry and Sergey. Eric Schmidt never needed to work again after Novell and the work he'd done. So if he was coming, it was coming to win. Mm-hmm. It was coming to prove a point. Mm-hmm. It's like Michael Jordan coming back after 3 rings. He's coming to show
now
you
that
just
you bring
how
up
much
a great
he can do.
point, because Dick and Google have an interesting relationship that wasn't.
Well, I think both Evan and Dick had their companies destroyed by Google.
Correct.
Or ankled by Google.
I wasn't going to say destroyed.
Well, maybe not destroyed. I think a lot of people consider FeedBurner to have been.
But there's certainly the potential for a bonding philosophically over that issue.
I think, listen, their first time up at bat, they both probably enjoyed cashing out. That's a good experience. I've been there, you know. But there is always that, you know, as much as I like my life now, I really wish you don't think I wish I still ran Weblogs Inc. I loved it. I could be running that as easily now, you know. But, you know, when you get offered some colossal exit, sometimes you have to take it. And you know what will happen to you, Gary? You'll get offered something for Posterous at 10 million. You've probably been offered already, but you'll get something at 7 million uniques, 10 million uniques, 15, 20. And at some point, it's going to be too much for you with responsibility towards your family and your partners and investors not to take. You'll sell it, and then 5 years later, the person who bought it may or may not do a good job with it, and you may want it back, and you may regret it, but you'll be on to Posterous 2.0.
Absolutely.
So that's just the way of the world.
One last one. We have time for one more.
One more.
eBay signs definitive agreement to sell Skype in deal valuing communications business at 2.75 B.
I guess speaking of trying to buy it back, right?
Yeah. Well, the founders are suing eBay, trying to get it back and trying to get their money back because there was some $1 billion earnout or something. Listen, Skype is an amazing product. Mm-hmm. The fact that eBay hasn't destroyed Skype is miraculous, right? I mean, it still has grown, and it's a revenue juggernaut from what I understand. PayPal is a revenue juggernaut. I think eBay has 3 businesses right now. They have the auctions, they have the financial services, have communications. If you were to rank those businesses in order of how valuable they are, financial services would be the top.
Absolutely.
Communications would be second, and auctions would be third. So I'm looking at it going, the fact that eBay can't get it together to run this thing to grow, I don't understand. They've made PayPal sing, right? PayPal's done great under eBay. Why can't they get Skype to work? Is it too much to focus on? If it was me, I could focus on all 3. I mean, the auction service hasn't changed in, I don't know, 5 years. I go to eBay, it looks the exact same as it did when I first visited it. Nothing's changed. It's like Craigslist. They could put the general manager of eBay in charge of it and just let them run it. It's never going to be bigger than it is today. It's going to be incrementally bigger.
Yeah.
But Skype could take over the entire universe.
An interesting thing, though.
A global phone company.
eBay and PayPal, both are spaces that a lot of other companies would like to get into, and they've managed to maintain their positions. Like, everyone would love to come in and just be the Pepsi to their Coke, but in both those cases.
Right, Google Checkout, everybody tried.
Everyone's tried, and they've managed to keep their
Microsoft Wallet.
Their dominance on both of those.
You know what I think happened there is really, you buy a company and you need to keep the entrepreneurs involved and incentivized. And when that earnout was just not going to happen, everyone who, a lot of people must have checked out. I mean, when you have a binary event or something, that's a problem. Like, if you're running your own startup, there's still a continuum of, you're still going to get something out of the incremental work you do. But if you're just going to miss the earnout, then you just give up. I mean, I don't know anything about the situation, but I can imagine that happening.
Yeah. This has been a great show. Thank you, Tyler. We covered a lot of good stuff.
Such a pleasure.
Gary, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Wanted to meet you. Like what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. Admire what you guys are doing. But this is you've only done about 20% of the work, so don't get too high. Remember the number 1 rule. Never get high on your own supply.
Yeah.
Scarface.
Yeah.
As much success as you had right now, this is all like the what do you call it, epilogue?
Yep.
This is not like the story up to now.
It's the prologue.
Prologue. This is like 10% of your story.
Absolutely.
Focus now, because the stuff you're doing over the next couple of months and next year is going to be very
Yeah,
important.
I'm going to go back and code, so.
A lot of people can get a site to 1 million or 2 million, frankly. I could SEO or viral any site to 1 million, 2 million with the worst domain name ever. What really matters is do you get to 4, 5, 6, 7, because that's when it gets hard.
Yep.
Trying to build 10% on 1 million, it's 100,000 people. It's not a big deal. That's one dig post.
Yep.
Trying to do 10%, 5 million, 10% on 7 million, 10% on 1 million, 20 million. Now you're talking real numbers.
Yep.
Now it's hard. That's 20 digs, 10 dig pages.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't just game your way there.
You're right.
And you're right into that spot, which is good, because now it gets hard, but resilience is what's most important. Gosh, this has been a great show. Apologies for Michael Arrington's presence on the show. I know he added nothing to the party. No, he was great. Apologies. I was watching in the chat room. Some people said they miss all the great segments on the show. I miss them too. I miss doing Ask Jason. Garry misses Ask Jason. Shark Tank I miss. Garry misses Shark Tank. The homework, the news. I mean, the news was okay. Deadpool with no dogs. It's terrible. I will try. Next week, I'll tell you what. Next week, we're probably going to have Roloff Botha on from Sequoia, who's a board member of Mahalo, and who was the investor in YouTube. Pretty big deal. He is going to be on the program
2 o'clock.
at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
next Friday Pacific. I think we could do with him all pitches
That'd
and
be awesome.
all questions.
That would be awesome.
Just a show of questions and pitches. It could be all Ask Jason and all Jason Shark Tank.
It'd be
No
so-
news, no interview.
That would be a real treat for the regular Twist viewers. I mean,
Right.
If you haven't had a chance to see how Roloff does his thing, like he's on our
That would
board
be
meetings,
epic.
he's awesome.
So,
you think I have insights?
Yeah, insights from
we
Roloff.
need a new song. If,
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thanks to the sponsors, Ustream, WebSpy, DNA Mail, and Audible.com. We'd love you guys for sponsoring the show. And we may have one more sponsor. That's the rumor. But we got like 2 or 3 people, and they're all going to get the contracts back, so maybe one more sponsor. LinkedIn for Kids. Yeah, somebody's talking about the stuff from last week. Okay, great show, everybody. And we will see you next week on This Week in Startups.
With this time.